Hello, I'm
Hello.
Pat Black Gould, and I'm here with Eva Hnizdo. Both of us wrote books about the Holocaust. Eva's book is an adult book called Why Didn't They Leave? And mine is a children's book called The Crystal Beads, Lalka's Journey. Eva's book is currently in publication, and mine is in pre-order, which will be published on June 24th. So we're going to start with Eva, and she's going to share a part of the book, and we have a theme for this in a particular topic. And this particular section is about the Star of David, and both of us represent that symbol in our books. So Eva, would you share your part of the book?
What is interesting with our two books, obviously your book is for children, so it's different, but the attitudes towards the Star of David is very different, because whereas in your book it's a symbol of relatives and continuation and family and a nice symbol, in my book it's a symbol forced to the Jewish community by the Nazis to wear outside to be marked. So it's a completely different, and I think the difference is quite interesting, because it's the same symbol and completely different mentioning. And in a way, that was the case with Jewish history generally. They were always forced to wear something which made them look differently to others. And that, of course, is not a very nice thing. So I was just wondering whether you want to say something more about your book, because about Lalka, or shall I start reading my chapter?
Well, what we'll do here is again, the symbols are very different for both of us, and they represent something different in terms of how they're perceived and received. So what we can do is first show it from Eva. We can show it from your perspective,
okay,
and then I'll bring Lalka into the picture.
So this is chapter 2 of my book, Magda, 1941, King David and his Star. Magda's mommy, Francie, was sewing and sobbing. It was strange because she never cried. She was stitching yellow stars on all her coats and jackets. Magda thought the stars were pretty. Why are you doing this, mommy? The damned Nazis, Magda giggled. Mommy is swearing, and she never swears. Magda's father, Bruno, came in and explained that the Nazis ordered all the Jews to wear the yellow stars to be recognized on the street. He told Magda it was the star of King David from ancient history. Magda remembered the rabbi mentioning King David and how he killed the giant Goliath and became an important king. He was little and clever like me, Magda thought. We should wear David's star with pride. We are a civilized, ancient, educated nation, said Bruno, but Francie was still weeping. Next day, Magda went out with the yellow star on her coat. People were staring. She saw two girls from her school. Magda started running to them, but they crossed to the other side of the street. Magda felt different, as if she didn't belong to Prague anymore. A big German girl in an ugly uniform of the Nazi girls' organization, Bund Deutsche Mädel, passed her on the pavement. She bumped into Magda hard. Was it an accident? Magda wasn't sure. I should have gone on my bicycle, she thought. But then she remembered the Jews might not own bicycles. Magda loved her beautiful new French red bike. When she was told she must give it to the Germans, she deliberately let it go downhill, where it crashed into a wall. The front wheel and the handlebars were now bent. That way, the Germans wouldn't be able to ride it. The man collecting the bicycles had given her a funny look. I had an accident 2 weeks ago, Magda had lied. You should have seen my bruises. She passed the shop on the parents of a girl from her school, Jana. Magda and the other girls used to tease the fat, shy Jana, who was always eating something. Jana's mother saw Magda with her yellow star and ran out of the bakery. Here you go, little darling. She gave the surprised Magda a large piece of chocolate. Magda didn't even manage to say thank you. She was never nice to Jana, calling her stuffed face. Did Jana's mom not know that? Magda walked past the cinema. They were showing a new comedy, but Jewish people were not allowed to go to the cinema. Suddenly, Magda just wanted to go home. The cook used the chocolate from Jana's mother to make Magda a hot drink. It was nice. At dinner, Magda told her parents about the girls crossing the streets. They used to be my friends and now they're not. They're horrible. Bruno looked at her and pulled her on his lap. I'm a bit too old for that, so Magda, but it was comforting. It is probably more complicated than that. They just don't know what to say. They see the yellow star, they know you can't go to school, their mothers are probably telling them that it's dangerous to speak to the Jews. You are all only 12. It's confusing and hard even for grown-ups. I'm nearly 13, Magda said. He smiled and gave her a kiss. Of course, you're almost a grown-up.
Beautiful. And it really represents a part in time in which the star was being sewn on. And in my case, this happens in Poland a bit before that time, just before the invasion of Poland, where the little girl was given a Star of David by her father for her 5th birthday. And it's something that she doesn't take off. It's her prized possession. And she loves this star.
She wears it,
and she wears it every day. Okay. And it's especially important because it's the last gift that her father gave her before he died. But sadly, in the book, the mother, sensing that there are going to be problems, tells her that she must remove this star in exchange for something else that she thinks is a necklace or rosary. But she finds that it's a rosary. So it's very difficult for her to give up the star. And I'm just going to read a short part of this. After the mother says to her, I'm going to exchange the necklace for this, I'm going to exchange the rosary for the star. And the little girl just clutches the star. But Papa told me the necklace was special. He said the shape of the 6-pointed star looked like King David's shield and it would protect me. Besides, my father gave me the Star of David on my 5th birthday, just before he died, and I wanted to keep it. My mother placed an open, shaky hand on her white tablecloth. You must trust me, Lalka. I thought I saw tears in her eyes. Maybe she was thinking of Papa. When I handed my mother the necklace, she held it to her heart. I promised to keep this safe, she said, and then placed it in her dress pocket. So it's the little girl's 7th birthday. And this is when the exchange from one item to another is given. And I just would like to show you this picture. Lalka is the girl, not the real girl's name. It's the name, it's Polish for doll. The girl in this does not have a name for a reason. Yeah. But you'll see Lalka faced with having 2 symbols here, both the Star of David and both the rosary. And in this case, the Star of David is given up so the mother can keep the little girl safe. So we see the differences, how the symbols are used.
I think it's so wonderful because it's written in a way that it's simple and children can understand it and they can imagine the situation because the situation seems so simple. She gets something taken away from her by her mother, which happens to children all the time. Yet everybody knows that this is different. And I think that's wonderful. And I like the illustration.
I do too. The illustrator, I'm very pleased that to have a wonderful illustrator by the name of Katja Royce. When I was looking for an illustrator, I wanted someone who I could find that might have some connection somewhere to the Holocaust. I was fortunate to find Katja, who lived in Russia, but then came to Israel. And as it turned out, Katja's grandfather is a survivor of the Holocaust.
Right.
And I have included his story at the end of the book there.
In addition?
In addition to the book, there's an afterword in the book where I wanted children to not just have a story, but a sort of educational component and to sort of reach out and touch someone who was there because we are losing our survivors. Those generations are passing us. So I wanted the children to have a real connection to someone who was a survivor. So he tells the story of what happened to him as a child when he was in the Holocaust. I also have another individual in the book, a rabbi who is the son of a Holocaust survivor. And then I also have Katja, who's the granddaughter of a Holocaust survivor. So kids can relate to 3 generations throughout the book, as your book does. Eva, your book brings it through the generations.
Well, yes. So it's my book is a family saga. So it's a lot of this, how the next generations react to having the Holocaust survivors as parents and grandparents. So that's interesting.
And that's what makes it, because you start your book right at the time of the Holocaust, and you bring it all the way through to what year do you?
2006.
Yeah,
2006.
yeah. So we've got a multi-generational book there, and it's wonderful. It's excellent, and believe me, you will not be you don't want it to end. You don't want it to end.
I think we want to cooperate like this because we like each other's writing very much. So we
Very much
biased, but let the readers find out.
Yeah, we will continue with the series and discuss just different themes from the book. So feel free to follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, any other social media, on our websites, and we'll continue with the series.
Excellent.
And thank you, Eva, and thank our audience today.